Hello friends, welcome to day 2 of our 13 days of Halloween series. Sorry we had a few days in between. I had some personal things come up, but we're back, we're ready for a lot more fun Halloween videos. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a Halloween kind of like busted canvas design. These have been getting a little bit more popular recently. I've been seeing them all over the place. So I wanted to make a Halloween one and kind of put my own little spin on it. So I'm going to take my canvas here. I think this is an 8x10, 11x14 maybe canvas. You can get these at any craft store and it does not need to be an expensive one. In fact, it's better if it's not an expensive one because we're going to cut it up. So I'm going to start with my canvas and I'm going to take some like corrugated poster board, just like cardboard, whatever you have. And I'm going to trace the outline of my canvas on that, cut it out, and that's what we're going to use for our backing later. I'm going to put a 12x12 sheet of vinyl on my cardboard, and I want to make sure that I have the area covered with vinyl that's going to show through the canvas. So I'm going to measure an inch on each side of my cardboard. So I guess this is an 11x14 because it's too tall. It's not an 8x10. Anyway, I'm going to cut or trace an inch on either side, top and bottom, so that I can place my vinyl in the middle. I also took this time to straighten out my cutting. The lines don't need to be perfectly straight because you're not going to see these edges really, but I wanted them to be as straight as possible so we didn't have anything hanging over the edges of our canvas. So this first pattern that you're going to put on your backing is what's going to show through your canvas after we bust it open. So I chose this cool zombie pattern because that's going to be like peeking through our canvas. So you want it to be something that would like pop out at you or like be hiding behind the canvas. It can be whatever you want, and you can literally do anything with this. If you're not a Halloween type of person, you can do any theme you want. It doesn't matter. This is just a fun little technique and a really fun craft to do. So with my zombies, like I said, I'm going to place them in the middle of my cardboard sheet. Now, of course, if you're doing a smaller sized canvas, you won't have to worry about any of this sizing stuff. You would just cover the entire backing with either your printed vinyl, your scrapbook paper, you can use fabric. Doesn't matter, whatever you want. You just want to stick it to whatever you're using for the backing. And again, like I said earlier, you can use hard poster board, you can use cardboard, you can use wood if you want to as your backing. Totally up to you. You just need something that's going to go on the back of your canvas. In hindsight, I would not have used this like corrugated cardboard because you can see those ridges underneath my vinyl. I think if and when I do this again, probably will do a Christmas one on my channel. Let me know if you want to see that. Anyway, I'm going to do wood for my backing next time. It's just a little bit nicer, looks a little bit more professional. This I was just making for myself, so I didn't really care about like making it the most high quality as if I were going to sell it to somebody. But I would recommend using like a 3mm little sheet of wood that you can get at the craft store. Okay, so now our backing piece is finished and we can just set that aside until we're ready to put it on. The next thing we're going to work on is the back of our canvas. So I took my canvas outside and just painted that wooden frame on the inner back side with black spray paint. Now that that's dry, we can add our second pattern to this portion. So this is the part that's going to show underneath when you bust your canvas. So I'm going to do a skeleton hand kind of dragging the canvas up, and this is going to show on the back side of those folds that we create. This might not make sense now, but once you see it all put together, you'll kind of see how all of the different elements work together. So what I would recommend for this portion is using a pattern that is a little bit fun, but also a little bit muted, because it's not going to be like a main portion of your design, you really don't even have to do a pattern back here if you don't want to. You can just paint the backside of your canvas if you wanted to just do a solid color back there. But again, you can use scrapbook paper. You can paint it like I said. I'm going to use a napkin. So I just got these little Halloween napkins. I peeled off that white backing part of the napkin, so we just want like a single ply, like single layer to adhere to the back of our canvas. And I'm going to apply this with Mod Podge, and we want to apply this face up because when we bust our canvas, it's going to be this part showing. We're not going to flip it upside down or do anything. We want this to be face up so that you can see the spider webs when we do the busting part. Hopefully this is all making sense, but watch till the end and you'll see everything come together, I promise. When I Mod Podge napkins or fabric or things like that to any surface, I like to iron it down. I feel like it just helps it stay better, kind of smooths everything out. So I'm going to use my little mini press here with a sheet of parchment paper in between the napkin and the heat. And I'm just going to run the iron over everything really softly. Don't leave the heat in any one place for too long. And I do have it on the medium setting, so it's not super hot. And I just want to run this over, smoothing everything out, sealing everything into place, and then we'll be ready to move on to our next step. All right, the next step is the front part of our canvas. So for this pattern, I decided to use a 12 by 12 sheet of scrapbook paper, and I tried to pick a pattern that was like kind of serene and something that maybe you would have hanging in your house, like a photo you would hang in your house, and then it's going to get ruined by the skeleton hand. That was my thought process, but it was really difficult to do a 12 by 12 sheet on the bigger canvas because I had to like improvise on the bottom. So I would recommend either using something that you can cover the entire surface of your canvas with. Again, if you're using a smaller canvas, you can use a 12 by 12 sheet and be totally fine. But also keep in mind that with this particular busted canvas technique, we're going to end up not really seeing much of this image anyway. And when I was doing this, I didn't know how much I was going to pull up or like have destroyed by the skeleton hand. So I wanted to use an image just in case you ended up seeing a lot of it, but I decided to pull up a lot of the canvas so you don't really see this image too much. So if you wanted to, you could just paint this a solid color. Again, you can use vinyl if you want, you can use fabric, whatever you want, as long as it doesn't make your canvas too hard to cut through and like scrunch up. I use my mini press again to seal the paper onto the canvas with heat, but I am also going to add another layer of Mod Podge over the top to seal the top portion of the paper, if that makes sense. We're basically just like decoupaging this onto our canvas. So I'm going to do a nice thick coat of Mod Podge over the entire thing, and then I'm going to let this sit and dry overnight before we move on to our next step. Okay, so now that the Mod Podge is entirely dry, I'm going to go outside and spray paint all of the remaining white portions of my canvas with black spray paint. I used a matte spray paint, but it doesn't really matter what kind of finish you use. I just always prefer a matte. Let my canvas dry for about an hour, and now we can get to the destruction part of our project. I got this little skeleton hand at Joanns, and they have left and right. I'm using a right hand because I want to have the canvas being pulled up from the bottom right corner up to the top left corner, but that doesn't really matter. It's just total personal preference. And what I'm going to do to start is take my X-Acto knife and cut some lines in the canvas where we're going to then scrunch that canvas up to look like the skeleton hand from the upper left corner of the canvas is pulling that canvas up, ripping it in the process to reveal the zombies underneath. So with a traditional busted canvas, what you would do is cut from the middle and then cut a bunch of little pieces and fold them out so it looks like it's bursting from the middle. But I wanted to do a little bit of a more scary, like spooky vibe, and I thought it would be really cool to have the skeleton ripping the canvas. So I am using my mom for help because she's been making these busted canvases like crazy, and she's who made me want to do one. So she's helping me figure out how exactly I should cut this to make it look the most like realistic as possible. So if you're wondering whose hands those are, they're my mom Manny's hands. So as you can see, what I'm doing is cutting a diagonal line kind of in line with the skeleton's pinky, and then another diagonal line where his thumb is, and then we'll do a straight line across. Now I have not glued the skeleton hand down yet. It's just kind of laying where it's going to go, kind of. We haven't secured anything down yet. We're just rough cutting our canvas up. So once you've got your shape cut out, what we're going to do is kind of like accordion fold it a little bit. If you think about what you do when you like scrunch a piece of fabric up with your hand, we're going to scrunch it up like that, and you can see now how you see those little spider webs that we put underneath it. So just keep that in mind as you go. But I really want this to look very like rough and ripped and natural. So I'm just kind of scrunching it up with my hands. The more distress we have in the canvas, the better, honestly, because you don't want this to look like, oh, you just cut a nice little shape out of your canvas and now the skeleton's holding it in place for you. So you'll see me go in a little bit and tear up those edges that we cut with our craft knife. Once all of our edges are distressed, we can start to glue everything in place. For this, I'm going to use hot glue, but feel free if you have another adhesive that you like better. It doesn't really matter. You just want to use whatever's going to keep it in place. And what I'm going to do is glue down the skeleton hand like up at the like wrist bone area. And then I'm also going to glue some spots in our canvas to keep them in that scrunched up position. I don't want them to start to fall over time. So I'm going to glue the little portions of our folds together, and then I'll also glue the skeleton's fingers to the canvas wherever they're touching it just naturally. All right, our canvas is scrunched and we can add our zombie backing to show them peeking through the canvas. I'm gonna hot glue this as well. Again, if I were doing this in a more like professional manner, and definitely for the next one I do, I'm gonna be a little bit more like upscale with it, I guess, because I said I'm gonna use wood, which will be a little bit better. I'm going to just hot glue this cardboard backing to the canvas and we will see the zombies peeking through. I'm so excited. Okay, how freaking cool is that? I am obsessed. I love how this is turning out so far. So now what we can do is start to add all of our fun little embellishments. And now here you have complete creative freedom as you do with this entire project, but you can add any sort of spooky pieces that you want. I'm going to add some like Halloween netting stuff. I wanted to put something up in the corner to camouflage just a random like skeleton ending. I wanted to look like he's coming out of the shadows to rip this canvas up. So I'm going to use this spooky netting. I also got this at Joanns, and I'm just going to position it around the corner of the canvas. Again, camouflaging his hand a little bit and then having it hang down on the sides of the canvas just to give it an overall spooky feel. But again, feel free to add spider webs, little spiders, or ghosts, or whatever you want to add in this portion. Just have fun with it and make it fun. Have fun with it and make it fun. Brilliant. Now, because I've got this kind of awkward area at the bottom of the canvas where my scrapbook paper ends and the just plain painted portion begins, I've got kind of like a seam there. And you guys know I hate a visible seam. So I cut a little Happy Halloween quote using my X-Tool S1 laser. I just cut this out of regular wood and I'm going to paint it with lime green acrylic paint. And then I'm going to glue those letters down over that area to try and camouflage it the best I can. I think had I not had that weird seam there, I would have just left this plain black and like left it looking spooky, but I had to cover that up because it was really driving me nuts. So again, feel free. You have creative freedom. If you want to add a quote, go for it. If you don't, that's okay too. Do whatever makes you happy. The last thing we need to do before finishing our project is add a little hanger on the back. I'm just going to use this little zigzag hanger. I got a pack of these at Michael's, and I'm just going to nail this into the wood so that we can hang this up. Of course, if you don't want to hang it up and you just want to stand it up somewhere, you can skip this step. But once you've got your hanger attached, you are all finished and you've got a really fun, unique piece of Halloween decoration. I had so much freaking fun making this canvas. I cannot wait to make another one. Again, let me know if you want to see a Christmas one or just kind of like a general one. These are so much fun to make, so I will definitely make another one on this channel if you guys want to see that. Let me know what you thought of this tutorial down below in the comments, and be sure to come back for more 13 days of Halloween videos coming your way. Love you guys so much. Thanks for watching as always. Subscribe to the channel if you are not already, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, love you, bye. Hello friends, thanks so much for watching this video. I want to say a huge special thank you to my elite fam, my channel members, and my subscribers. You all make this channel possible, so thank you so much for being part of the fam. If you want more exclusive content from me, you can join my elite fam at patreon.com/elitefam. You can find my tumblers and digital files on my website madebymalstudio.com. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, you can find me on Instagram at madebymal_studio. Here's another video for you to check out, and I'll see you soon. Thanks so much for watching. Love you. Bye.